There's a fantastic organization here in San Antonio called Gridiron Heroes. Now, it was formed out of love and necessity. It was actually born out of a tragic injury to a young man named Chris Canales. He was playing the sport that so many of us love and a sport that he loves, but unfortunately he was injured. It was a spinal injury, and it put him in the wheelchair for the rest of his life. But his father, Eddie Canales, seized upon that moment to help his son. And then the two teamed up to help others, players and parents who need support during a very critical time in their lives.
My son Chris suffered a spinal injury playing football. At the time, there was no help. Coaches didn't know what to do, where to go, how to help the family.
Now they do. From that tragedy for Chris and his family, some triumph in the form of Gridiron Heroes.
Gridiron Heroes works with young men that have suffered spinal injuries playing high school football.
In 2001, Chris Canales played defense for San Marcos Baptist Academy High School. He was an All-American punter. He was injured making a tackle during the final quarter of the team's final game. At the time, he knew something was wrong, but what he didn't know is he would be paralyzed for life.
It's tough. I mean, we had a ICU room that's filled with all of his teammates, his coaches, everybody there waiting to see the outcome of, Chris's injury. You're surrounded by all this help, but at the same time, you feel so lonely.
That was the inspiration for Gridiron Heroes. A year after Chris was injured, his dad, Eddie, took him to the 3A state championship game just to get him out of the house. During the game, another player, Corey Fulbright, went down, and that's when Chris realized why he was there.
When Chris saw that young man being put on that cart, we were watching, with binoculars, and we didn't see any arm movements, hand movements, or anything. Chris really knew right away. So he turns to me and said, "Dad, I know what he's going to go through. You know what the family's going to go through. We need to go help."
So I wanted to be there for him to let him know just a little of what I went through.
Gridiron Heroes has been able to support some 90 players and parents, making a difference on and off the field, helping them deal with all the aspects from the paperwork to the physical work.
And that's something, as a parent, you're going to deal with if you're having to take care of that young man.
It's not so much the monetary value that it is, more so the talking to, like, come to me, I'm going to tell you what the process is, what you're about to go through, because your life has changed.
While Eddie prepares the parents, Chris is more about the patient.
A lot of time when I go talk to them, especially if they're in the hospital or rehab, we don't really talk about what's going on with that. We talk about sports, football.
Get their mind off of what's bad about what they love and back to what's good.
They're not going to be alone. For me, I think that's a true blessing.
Once again, an incredible organization started here in San Antonio, and we want to direct your attention to the field here in the end zone. KSAT Vice President and General Manager Phil Lang, along with our own Greg Simmons, presenting Gridiron Heroes with a check for $25,000. It is being accepted by Eddie and Chris Canales, along with several other Gridiron Heroes joining them here on the field. It's an organization worthy of our support and the work that they do. And once again, we want to thank those gentlemen and thank Gridiron Heroes for what they do.